Welcome to this episode of Get the Bag. I'm Kelly, your host, and on today's show, I have Miss Katina Washington of the She Events. Yes. How are you, Miss
I
Katina?
am doing amazing right now.
Awesome. So tell us, give us a whole enchilada about the She Events and how you got started and all that, because inquiring minds would love to know.
Well, that would be a lot. We would have to do a series.
Come on, we ready for the
We would have
series.
to do a
Yes.
series. But initially, the idea of the She event was to address a need in
Mm-hmm.
my community, and that was for Black women in business to have a
Yes.
platform and to have access to certain resources
Mm-hmm.
so that their business could be successful.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And so I got together with my niece and my friend. My niece
Mm-hmm.
sold shoes. My friend was a caterer.
Okay.
And so she does stand for She Has Everything Now, but it
Mm-hmm.
initially stood for Shoes, Hot Accessories, and Eats.
Okay.
So I brought those two, on board
Mm-hmm.
and asked them to help me out with the She event. My niece sold shoes, I sold accessories, and
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of had a good time, with
Yes.
food. That's like a perfect girlfriend's night out.
Absolutely.
So that's initially how it started. And other
Mm-hmm.
people wanted to get involved. So now we have a lot of business owners that we
Yes.
have crossed paths with um, at our upcoming She event.
Mm-hmm.
We will have 249 vendors
Wow.
attending. And we've expanded a lot,
Mm-hmm.
since the initial She event. So we offer financial literacy,
Mm-hmm.
coaching,
Yes.
mentorship, and other things
Yeah.
that go along with that.
That is so awesome. I've watched the She events evolve and grow, and you've had such a major impact here in the city, especially with Black women owned businesses. I think for many of them, they would say it feels like home, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so it's been a pleasure to watch you grow. What propelled you? Like, what made you say, I'm going to focus on this and push this forward?
Um, the success of
Mm-hmm.
the businesses that we help,
Mm-hmm.
we know that we've been effective.
Mm-hmm.
To grow the She event from only three vendors to having events, with over
Mm-hmm.
249 and having a sold out event, not each time, because there was a time where I had 35, 40 no shows.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How did you keep going in the midst of that?
I'm just seeing the success, knowing that
Mm-hmm.
I've helped someone. There were a lot of obstacles that I
Mm-hmm.
faced, just getting access to certain elements and funding and things like that that I
Mm-hmm.
needed to grow my business, and to be able to provide those to other
Yeah.
women, that we've assisted is
Mm-hmm.
great.
Watching other women grow, I know that is like an absolute rush to see businesses and see the flourishing. I've been the product and seen the products of some of your work, and it has definitely been a treat to see those
Thank
things.
you.
So kudos to you and all that you've done.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So tell me, what is next for you and the She events?
So what's next is we will be in the Blue Ribbon Pavilion
Mm-hmm.
at the Indiana State Fairgrounds on September the 10th.
Y'all heard it here.
September the 10th, 2022, from
Okay.
11 to a.m. to 6 p.m. We strategically created that time frame, 11 to 6,
Mm-hmm.
because um, there is a rumor out there that the black dollar only stays in our community 6 hours. So we
Mm.
make sure that it stays in our community a little bit longer on that day, if no other
Yes.
day.
Yes. So talk to me about that. Can you give me some background about the Black Dollar only staying in the community for 6 hours?
Yeah, I literally traveled around in
Mm-hmm.
2017 at different events.
Mm-hmm.
I went online and bought like 27 tickets to
Mm-hmm.
different, events. I
Wow.
wanted to go both as a vendor and also as a guest,
Mm-hmm.
just to see, both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I quickly realized that our dollar does not last in our community long. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not only did I want to help entrepreneurs, but I wanted our community to understand the
Mm-hmm.
importance of, keeping our culture alive.
Yes. That's awesome. So when it comes to our community and supporting one another, I know that you have been so instrumental in that. Where do you see that going next?
Well, now that we've opened the first black department store up in Circle Center Mall, that's my focus right now. My
Mm-hmm.
focus is to continue to be there,
Mm-hmm.
continue creating legacy.
The first, hold on, wait a minute. Let's pause for a sec. You
Yeah,
said the first black store?
black department store in Circle Center
Wow.
Mall. Yeah,
So Circle City Tomorrow has been open how long?
yeah, yeah. I remember
Wow.
when it first opened, and I remember going to Carson's, and
Mm-hmm.
going to Nordstrom there and all
Yeah.
those stores. But the She Experience is, we have the ability to be as nice,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're continuing to grow the She Experience, to
Mm-hmm.
beautify the She
Yes.
Experience, make sure that our customer service
Mm-hmm.
is equal to or more than when you go on Saks Fifth
Mm-hmm.
Avenue.
Now
So,
let me pause right there. Let's talk
yeah,
about customer service
right.
because I feel like customer service is such a huge part, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes, businesses in the black community get a bad rap because of lack
Oh
of
yeah,
customer service.
oh yeah.
Tell me, what is your mantra around customer service?
Well, we provide business training, free business training
Yes.
every Wednesday
Mhm.
there on location at the She Experience
Mhm.
to help business owners grow their business. And we're not into just having events,
Mhm.
and just having any and every vendor there. We want sustainable businesses,
Yes.
So we want businesses because we got to keep in mind that this is my brand too,
Yes.
the Sheven.
Mhm.
So whereas things may not have been as important to me, before, they are
Mhm.
now. So the
Yeah.
businesses that we are involved with, we want them to provide excellent customer service.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely believe customer service is a huge part of the experience that you provide your customers with. And it goes so much further because you get that repeat, right? Because I'm sure you have people who come back to your events again and again and again and again, right? And that's what we want for our businesses because, like you said, we want to be sustainable. That's meat and potatoes, y'all. The sustainability of having that experience and really being able to get your customers back based on how you treat them.
Yes.
Because I can tell you, I've walked into some businesses here recently. They did not get a good review from me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to see because you really want to support, right? You talked about you do the free business training and everything. Um, how have you worked that customer experience into that free business training?
From obstacles we face, like for an
Mm-hmm.
example, how do you handle a bad review?
Mm-hmm.
So when someone receives a bad review on Google, we
Mm-hmm.
come together at what we call the Black Table of Intellectual Discourse. That's what we
Yes.
call it. And we come together and
Mm-hmm.
we figure out amongst each other, how can we remedy this issue? How can we
Mm.
make things better?
I love it.
How can we retain that customer even though we made a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
And things like that because ultimately relationships are important.
Mm-hmm.
They are very
Absolutely.
important. So that's what we want to maintain, and we
Yes.
want to foster lifetime relationships with customers.
Mm. Yes, I love that. That is so amazing. I think that is missing a lot of the times overall in any type of business training, right? We don't really talk about that customer experience and how to maintain that customer. We teach you real quick how
Yeah.
to set up a business, right?
Oh
We
yeah.
can teach you how to get registered and everything else, but sometimes what's missing is the actual customer interaction. Unless you plan on being rude, and that's a
Right.
part of your
Right.
brand,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Which is something I would definitely do because I'm silly like that. But that is so important. I'm glad that you touch on that. I think that it's going to make a huge impact in our community about how we serve one another.
Oh yeah.
And I cannot wait. I'm probably going to come to your class and be in there
Hmm.
spying and looking, right?
Come on
So
down.
that is absolutely awesome. Um, as an entrepreneur and somebody who has, made waves and people are recognizing what you're doing and all that, what would you tell somebody else, specifically another black woman, about what she needs to be on the lookout for when it comes to her brand, when it comes to her being in front of the people, how she presents herself? What would you say to her?
Um, Embrace the obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace them. As business owners, a lot of times tell other business owners, well, I don't want you to make this mistake, so do this and do that
Mm-hmm.
and do the other. But sometimes we need those mistakes to happen
Mm-hmm.
so that we can be better,
Yes.
provide a better service.
Mhm.
You know, I was really, really upset during COVID because I was like,
Mhm.
all these businesses I have helped,
Mhm.
they want their money back and they want $125 from me, and I've given them $125 worth of counseling,
Mhm.
or my time, and things
Yeah.
like that. But it needed to happen so that I can prepare, you know,
Yes.
um, when things that are not planned come up in the future,
Mhm.
so that I can prepare, financially, should that
Mhm.
situation happen again. There's
Yes.
just a lot of things that I learned, and I would not be in the
Mhm.
position I am right now had I went around that situation.
Yeah, so going through it and experiencing it, like those failures create opportunities, right?
Yeah, and I am what I'm doing today, and the journey that I'm on today is a manifestation of what I've been through. I'm so
Absolutely.
serious about that. So it's
Yep.
all good.
So we talked about what's next for the business. What's next for Miss Katina?
What's next for me is I'm actually working on my documentary right now, so I'm really
Yes.
excited about
Did we get
that.
the exclusive on that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would
Yes.
love to do that. I would love to do
That would be
that.
awesome.
So I'm working on that, and it will be a series too. It will
Yes.
be a series. I've had a couple camera guys follow me around,
Mhm.
a little bit and get a
Now, how's
glimpse
that
of my.
experience been? Is it awkward? Is it weird?
Well, I had an aha moment
Mhm.
when I went back to my first apartment, which was Carriage House,
Mhm.
and I remember how excited I
I
was
used to
to
work
get my
there.
own apartment at Carriage
Mhm.
House, and it's just really crazy that.
Mhm.
Well, we know that Carriage House, they went by my income, right?
Mhm.
At that time, I was a single mom and stuff like that, and I had a really, really good price on my rent and all that.
Mhm. Amen.
Yeah, I did. And I really enjoyed that apartment, but
Mhm.
I just didn't want to stay there,
Mhm.
long term. I just had goals for myself,
Mhm.
so it was a stepping stone though.
Yes.
And I think that's how it's designed to be. So when we went
Mhm.
back to Carriage House, I had an aha moment because Glick Philanthropies was one of the, I received a grant from Glick,
Mhm.
okay? So I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Mhm.
I used to live in those apartments, and,
Yeah.
they gave me a little push back then, and I wondered how they would
Mhm.
feel, knowing that that's that same girl that lived in your apartments
Yes.
a long time ago that you invested in,
Mhm.
you
I'm sure
know.
Marianne would be ecstatic. She would be
Wow.
beyond ecstatic because that's part of that mission,
It
right?
is part of that
Um,
mission, and it aligned.
yeah.
It aligned.
That is awesome. I'm glad to know that you live there. Like I said, I previously worked
Hmm.
there as a service coordinator a few years ago.
Okay.
And it was a big part of what I did to tell people, like you said, it's a stepping stone. It doesn't
It
have to be your
absolutely is.
stopping place, but a place where you build from.
Yes.
And I can imagine how you felt. Like I'm getting chills because I'm
Oh
thinking,
yeah.
to go back and be like, man, this is where I began
Oh,
at, right?
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
wow. That
Hmm.
is so interesting. I'm so excited for
It
you.
is. It is.
And I cannot wait to watch this documentary. Yes. So y'all be on the lookout for this documentary. It's probably gonna be live and in effect.
Absolutely
Girl, was you
yes.
crying on the tape?
Not yet, but there were moments when I went back and watched some of the footage, and I was like,
Hmm.
wow, it's just amazing. Just how my life, people see me
Hmm.
now and they want to start. I say this all the time. They want to start in the middle of my story and
Yes.
exclude the beginning, but we
Hmm.
can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to know the
Yeah.
whole story.
Yeah. Because people, I think, even as business owners, people get caught up in seeing what the end product was, but you didn't see
Hmm.
the struggle that happened before. You
Absolutely.
didn't see those big failures that I
Hmm.
made that propelled me to where I am now, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's so important to
Yeah.
that you're willing to share that story,
Hmm.
because like people would be amazed, right,
Hmm.
of what you can accomplish and what you can do. This doesn't have to be your end all be all.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited
Like
for
us
that.
sitting here now, like I
Yes.
used to ask people, will they interview me? And
Hmm.
now people are asking me, can I interview
Yes, we
you?
had to have
So,
you.
yeah, so I mean, it's part of my story, It
Yes.
didn't start out with this, It started
Hmm.
out with me. Hey, can you interview me? I want to
Hmm.
talk about my organization. It's really great and blah, blah, blah. And they're
But you
like,
said something
no.
there, though, right? You put yourself out there. right? And you were ready to talk about your business. And I think that's one of the key things about being an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, and you got to know how to talk about your business.
Absolutely,
And look how that
absolutely.
paid off.
Mm.
Look at what we see before us. Somebody who was willing to take those opportunities, because you heard a lot of no's, didn't you?
A lot, yeah, a lot of no's, a lot of I've been stood up. I've
Mm-hmm.
experienced it all.
Yeah,
I have.
yeah.
I've experienced it all.
And it's how you deal with those no's, and not internalizing it, right? Because it's easy to get stuck in that place when you hear no and be like, I don't want to be here, or I don't want to try again. So that perseverance in that moment is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, now people are interviewing you. You don't have to chase nobody for
Yeah.
an interview, but you put that work in.
Yeah, and I'm forever grateful
Yes.
for whoever you know asked me to for an interview.
Hmm.
I'm forever grateful. I'm very
Yes.
happy to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you. We're happy to have you today,
It's an honor.
because what you're doing in this community, as a black woman who's a business owner, to see what you're doing for other black women business owners, it's like, yes, amen to that, because us pouring back into each other, right? Giving each other understanding, hey, you got this whole, how do
Hmm.
we make this better experience for somebody else? I mean, I had never heard of you guys have a whole situation where you sit down and you talk about this. I mean,
Hmm.
how that helped, even hearing that, how that's going to grow me and how that's growing other people.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that impact is tremendous. It goes
Hmm.
past your lifetime, it goes deeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's absolutely awesome what you're doing in this
Hmm.
community.
And at the She Experience, we're a family.
Yes.
We are a family there at the department store. It may
Mm-hmm.
have started out like I'm just here to, for my store,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not really trying to be friends with anyone. Now we're like a family,
Yes.
and we've removed those barriers of
Mm-hmm.
black women feeling like, I'm just working with her own business.
Yeah.
It is possible for us to work together and be friends and all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And our girls are looking at us.
Hmm.
I had a situation here recently, where I had a little girl come up to us. I was working with another black woman for another non for profit, and she was just amazed. She was like, "Are you guys sisters?" And we gave that vibe off, and I was like,
Hmm.
"She's looking at us." So you
Yeah.
got these young girls; they're looking at you and how you're running your business and what that looks like and what it feels like. People want to come to work. They want to be in a
Absolutely.
space where it feels like family. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because if I got to be there for 8 hours, you know what I mean? It's got to be worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you so much. Can you tell us how we can find you? How do we get linked up with Miss Katina and the She events? So how do we become vendors at your events?
Hmm.
How do we find you? Where you gonna be at? We need to know all that.
Okay, so you can go to sheexperience.org. That's SHEXPERIENCE.org. And we can also be reached at 317-447-5896. That's my number, which
Hmm.
hey, it's out there.
Hmm.
And also at our store, 317-600-3291. And also our email is, you can email Nice, Nis, at sheeventnd.org.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We are so glad that you came on the show today. You are welcome back. We want to hear more about your documentary, and all the things that you're doing with the She event. And as always, Miss Katina, what do we do? Get
Get
the
the bag.
bag. The evolution of your small business starts today. Sign up for our partners Verizon Small Business Digital Ready platform, a free service to you to advance your business. Check the link below and click on that, and it'll take you right to our Verizon Wireless link.